to give you guys knowledge, power, information so that you can work on helping yourself become healthier, empowering yourself to take care of yourself, recognizing how important it is to take care of yourself to do anything else in the world, right? It's easy to be like, oh, my job, my kids, my this, my that. But ultimately, if you're not here, what does any of that matter? And so you can take nothing with you, but you can walk in your health. And so we know the reason you're here is because you have been affected by some health condition. And so the hope here is for you to feel like you have the tools, resources, and skills to take better care of yourself, whether it's reversing, managing, or getting to a place where you feel good. And so, bless you. And the idea, like, involving families is because you become then the, like, pivot and hinge to teach others. It's like each one teach one, right? Like, you learn, and then you're going to teach other people. And so teaching young children, teens, young adults how to take care of themselves. So even if your health has already kind of crossed a threshold, there's still opportunity and hope for not only improve your own health, but the health of those you love. And so that, prevention is intervention, right? And so what we want to do is arm you with knowledge, tools, resources to help you take better care of yourself and the people that you love. And so we have wonderful partners. And so Get Fresh Daily is, I don't want to speak for Gianna, but I'll let Gianna speak for herself. Okay. And I'll let these lovely, powerful women speak for themselves and what they're doing here with us today.
So I will say that for Get Fresh Daily, like this whole being able to be in a healthcare setting really is our dream, because we do know that the more healthy foods that you're eating, fresh fruits and vegetables, right, have the nutrients that we need to nourish ourselves, to help. Primarily what we want to think about is preventing disease, right? In the cases where we do have health incidences, we know with time and consistency and other lifestyle changes, we're not here to tell you you're going to have this kale and all your things are going to go away.
All your troubles will go away.
All your troubles will go away. It does take commitment, but it is possible. And we see it over and over again. It's also gaining traction. So, I just want to, again, just encourage you all on this journey. We are here to support you. We do the garden, we do our produce boxes, we have a farmer's market. So we're really just trying to think of all the ways to make access to these beautiful foods more accessible to our people. So welcome and thank you. Thank you for signing on. And we're really excited to be with you over the next 15, 16 weeks, which is really amazing. Yeah. Stacey, do you want to have any?
I will say that I'm super excited to be kicking this off in March. Most people don't realize it is National Nutrition Month.
Yes.
So I'm very, very excited about that. And actually, I will say that today is National Registered Dietitian Day. So I'm excited. So I even wore this shirt.
Yes, what a great day.
And so as a registered dietitian, one of the things that, I will say thank you for having me. I know that Spectrum doesn't currently have one now. But as a registered dietitian, one of the things that I love doing is bridging the gap between how the nutrients affect your body and what that means for you. Like, how do I select food? How do I do all these things? Like, I hear that I'm supposed to eat this. Is that a great fit for me? Because nutrition is very individual. It's very nuanced. That's the word that I always say about nutrition now, is like, just because you hear something doesn't mean it applies to you. So we always have to keep our goals in mind, and also to make sure that you know how to store your greens as well as you can, or whatever it is to make you succeed. So it's really, I'm really delighted to, in addition to coming to these classes, to be able to work with you guys one-on-one so you can have your questions answered. But often I find when people are struggling, their struggles are not what they think they are. They're actually other barriers. So once we identify those as barriers, then we can do some work to put strategies in place to to help move you forward. So it's a little vague, but if you talk to me, you'll know what I mean after that. But I'm super excited.
Happy Dietitian Day!
Happy Dietitian Day! What a perfect thing to do on Dietitian Day.
Yes.
All right.
So we want to highlight today's menu?
Yeah, let's highlight our menu. So this is the menu that you all got in your boxes. And it is a little multi-stepped, we'll say. But I really wanted to highlight this kind of salad bowl because A, you use most of the things that are in your box. So I kind of wanted to demonstrate that you can, you know, kind of use everything in your box in these meals and like how that can work together. And then also thinking about like the roasted vegetables, like wanted to have that kind of separate to see, you could do any of these things by itself, right? So it could be standalone or it could be, you know, all combined together. And I mean, what I feel like I want to share with you all is like in honor of it being National Nutrition Month, we always say that you want to try to eat a rainbow. Ooh. And we try to eat a rainbow because Stacy can go into it if you like, but there's different nutrients and phytochemicals in each in each kind of vegetable, right? So when we are looking at something like this, we're looking at this beautiful dark leafy green, and like that deep like the darker our foods are, is like the more concentrated of these nutrients there are. So you're thinking about like this kale, and it's so dark, right? It's like, it's very rich. And then if we had something like, you know, like a romaine lettuce, or I'm sorry, like the iceberg lettuce on the very other end of it, which, you know, has a crunch. It does have some nutrients, it just doesn't have as much. And we can tell the difference in that coloring. We really love to have like our parsnips and roasted carrots. That also has a lot of different nutrients in it. And then we're looking at like our purple or red onion. We've got some cilantro here. And then we've got 3 different kinds of protein sources, which I also love, that these are 3 different kinds of protein that are not meat or animal products. So that's also very exciting. And then we've got our healthy fat with our avocado. And that's actually, we even have like our dressing, which is a tahini dressing. Tahini is made out of another seed, which is sesame seed. And so this is the kind of salad that I honestly like. I will make this, and this will be like my lunch for the week, right? I'll just put it in my fridge and just kind of pull from it. And this is like my lunch on the go, or even like this is what I can easily pack for lunches when I'm on the go. Or it's like sides for dinner. Now this is me, you know, it's just me at home now. My son is grown. So this is what works for me. So, you know, again, nothing's preaching, it's just giving you different ideas. Susie, is there anything else you wanted to add?
So yes, actually there was a few things that I wanted to say. So one, the first thing that I thought of is, it is a little bit of a prep work, but if you look at it like this is a weekly investment. Yeah. And it could be it doesn't have to be these items. So going back to, I want you guys to really think of those patterns. Okay, you might say, I don't love chickpeas. Well, okay, let's do another bean, right? It could be black beans, it could be pinto beans. So I want you to think about like what's in that category. We have our green leafy vegetables here. This is kale, but it could be our romaine. It could be collards. It could be, so I want you to think about it doesn't have to be these specific foods. But if we prep it once, we can eat from it multiple times. And it doesn't even have to be a salad. It could be, I'm pairing this with rice. And I'm taking these things and I'm adding a different sauce, right? So right now we're about to make a tahini sauce. But what if you had a Dijon sauce? Or what if you had a teriyaki sauce? So you can take the same basic ingredients, mix them and match them, and then it feels completely different. So we still have that variety. So that's one thing, that the prep, it is actually worth it, because it's worth it in the long term when you think about it for the week. The other thing that I will tell you guys is, I want you, and this is what I started talking about with some of you guys, I want you to start thinking about what part of the plant am I eating? Okay, I want you to think about eating an entire plant through the course of like a week. Okay, so our dark leafy greens, surprise, surprise, they're leaves, right? We started talking about root vegetables. Okay, what root vegetables am I eating? Am I eating parsnips? Am I eating carrots? Am I eating beets? So thinking about those. Am I eating stalks? So like celery and asparagus would be examples of stalks, right? Am I eating nuts or seeds? So I want you to think about diversifying this, because each part of the plant is going to offer you different nutrients as well. And then we'll talk about this again, but the last part I want you guys to think about, which Gianna talked about, but when I started gardening, like all of it just kind of like came together, because I had like this working background, and then I had like this tangible background. These antioxidants, you guys have heard of that word before? So antioxidants are a type of phytochemical or phytonutrient. We can use those interchangeably. Phyto means plant, and nutrient means nutrient, right? So one of the things that these phytonutrients do is give the plants the color, as Gianna was mentioning. And I knew that, right? But then I took it a step back, and I realized that when we eat these things, so our phytonutrients are not necessary. They're not essential for our life. So vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, fats, and protein, they are necessary. If we're not getting them in the right quantities, we will have deficiencies, and we will have problems in our life. Our phytonutrients, they enhance our life, but we won't have deficiencies. So there's a slight difference there. So plants make those phytonutrients for themselves. Okay, now here's what's wild. They are a form of protection from wind and intense sun and predators and all these things. So they make them for themselves, but when we eat the plants, we get benefit from them, because plants, if they're in danger, they cannot run away. So they have to have a way to protect themselves. And that's what those phytonutrients do. So not only do we want to eat more plants, we want to think about eating a variety of plants. So as much variety as that we can get in. And the last thing that I will say, which is kind of like goes together with this, is there was a really big study that came out, I guess it would have been 2024 now, called the American Gut Project. And they found that people that eat 30 unique plants per week had better gut health, which translates into better overall health. And so we're not just talking about fruits and vegetables, though. We're talking about fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, spices, herbs, and spices. So when you think about that 30, we're getting a great start with the box already, right? But we could easily do like 5 in one sitting. So people hear that number and they're just like, oh my gosh, like that's overwhelming. And so an easy example is if we had oatmeal is a plant, right? And we decided we were gonna put some blueberries in it, that's a plant. Let's say we decided we were gonna put walnuts in it, that's a plant. We decided we were gonna have maybe some seeds on top of it too, that's a plant. And then maybe we put some cinnamon in there, that's a plant, right? That's 5 plants right there, all unique. So if we can do that a few times throughout the week, we'll easily get our 30. So I want you to really think about, like, how can I utilize all these in one way instead of worrying about, oh, I have to eat this and oh, I have to eat that, and just try to bring it all together. So that's all I think I have to say.
I love that, thinking about your bowl and how you can get more plants in it. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but yeah, when you start thinking about your seeds, and so I think that over these next 16 weeks that's going to be a really nice challenge for you to just kind of reframing your thinking, right? Like you're making that oatmeal, like what else can I add? A little cinnamon, okay, a little ginger, okay. Okay, let me go ahead and add this, sunflower seeds. I love peanut butter or peanut butter. Yeah. So I think that's like a really nice, I took a note so we can make sure that we continue to repeat that. I think that's really good.
And not only does it make it like nutritionally diverse, but it also makes it more beautiful. Like think about when you see something and there's all these colors. So it makes it more enticing and it makes it more interesting because you have all these different textures.
Yes.
So there's so many different reasons why this works.
Yeah.
You just have to remember that it's important and be actively having those foods on hand. And that's what makes it simple.
Any questions from, like, whether it's any curiosity about the ingredients? I mean, not everybody's like doing quinoa, maybe you are, but any questions either about what either Stacy or Gianna's talking about, or just questions that you're thinking about with respect to this menu?
I will say, this is nuance. Like people will tell you, oh, always eat at this time. If you can't do that, like if you can't follow advice that you hear, then it doesn't work for you. So it's not your best time, right? So if you can't execute something that you hear is the best time, It's not. So we could sit down and figure out like what your work schedule looks like. But what I would say is you want to make sure if you're going a long stretch of time, you have enough protein to make you feel satisfied. A lot of people do this wrong where they try to eat light, they're trying to be good, and I hate these words, so we'll talk about that later. But they try to do things well, but they don't give themselves enough food, they don't give themselves enough protein, they don't give themselves enough fiber, so then they end up being hungry sooner than they anticipate, and they didn't plan for that, and then sugar, honey, iced tea breaks out.
Yes.
And they'll eat whatever they have access to. So we have to rethink and work with what your schedule actually looks like.
I love that because it made me think like what you need to eat is food. You just need to make sure. I think we always have we think like forget the rules. It's actually just making sure you're actually eating, right? And particularly when you say like I need to make sure I'm eating to take medicine, right? And all of those things kind of live in balance. And so I think sometimes folks wake up and they're like, I'm not a breakfast person. And then you turn around and you've been awake since 8 a.m. It is now 2 p.m. and you've eaten nothing. And your body needs sustenance. I tell people to think, to plan, to problem solve, to deal with stress. We need nutrition. And that's not to say anything's virtuous, like good or bad. And I think to your point, Stacey, where you say like when we get so hungry, we make different choices because we're desperate at that point. Yeah, I'm gonna have that whole hoagie.
And
it was easy to get while it was right there.
And not just that, depending on where you are, we will all acknowledge that quality food costs more, and it might not be accessible. So we might have wanted to make a different choice, and it's just not around. So you guys will find that I live in the world of A, B, and C. Like A is the perfect world. Oh, if I had time, I would do this every day. But all right, life happened. So what can I pivot to? What do I make sure that I have on hand that I'm not completely derailed? And then C might be like, all right, I don't even have time to eat, but I'm making sure that I always have access to snacks that are going to nourish me and that I enjoy.
And I just want to share with that this is all like lifestyle habit changes. It takes time.
Yes, right? And repetition.
It does, and it's difficult. Like I, even in this situation, and I'm like the healthy woman and all this kind of stuff, but I had gotten myself in a bad, and I'm gonna say it was bad, habit of just go, and when I don't prepare a lunch to take with me, I will not eat because I'm just on the go until late. So I was getting in the habit of like, oh, I don't eat breakfast, then I don't have lunch, and then it's 7 or 8 o'clock and I'm eating the biggest meal of my day at the end of the day. And it's causing cortisol spikes and all kind of stuff is going crazy. And I just had to say, this cannot be. Like, you've got to double down and just whatever I need to do to make sure that I've got some food for me at 12 o'clock, regardless of where I'm at. So, I mean, and I'm saying that because this is me, right? I do this. So I'm saying it's not easy, but it really is like having to just really commit to yourself and just to know, like, this is not good for me. And I wasn't feeling good. Like you're starving, and then I was eating too late. So then, like, my food isn't properly digested, and then I'm waking up the next morning feeling groggy because my food, it just was all crazy. And this is like somewhat recent, like within the last 8 months, where I was like, okay, stop. Like, you gotta prioritize, and it's really about prioritizing yourself because you're doing all the running for everybody else, for work and this and that, and then you're burnt out at the end. Like, doesn't make sense. So,
but I have to say, I want to kind of take a step back because this is when I was vague before. This is a great example that sometimes we'll beat ourselves up when we're doing things. We'll have the shame, but you were probably overcommitted.
Yeah.
That was your first problem.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to identify, it wasn't that you didn't want to eat lunch.
Yeah.
And it was that you were overcommitted.
Yeah.
And so once we were just like, okay, I'm doing too much.
Right.
So we're either, I don't do as much
right.
so I can make sure that I eat when I need to, or I don't have the ability to change that right now. So what do I have to do that makes sure that I have what I need? It's
And that's
going to
right.
be one of those two.
And
But you have to take it back.
Yeah,
Because people
you're right.
will just take that shame on, like, oh, I'm terrible. I can't get this together. No, there's
Yeah.
something that's stopping you. We need to identify what that is, and
That
then we
proper
can
framing.
then we can pivot in the right direction.
Because you're right. That's what it was I'm going to stop working at 6 o'clock. Right? I'm going to stop working so I can eat a dinner at a reasonable time and prep my lunch properly for the next day. So it was that stepping back of, yeah, that's right. Framing is everything.
I actually had this conversation with a patient today where we were talking about anxiety. They'd stepped into a new role in their job, so they were feeling very anxious, worried about it, and we were trying to figure out how to treat the anxiety. And then I said, well, we can do that, and your body is giving you these symptoms because you don't feel well for a reason. You're not just stressing out of the blue for no reason with no cause. So while we can also fix the outcome of it, let's be curious and find out what is contributing to that. Because we're then only treating the symptoms and we're not fixing the problem.
Right.
And so it's a combination of, first of all, acknowledging like, hey, I built a schedule. I've created a sort of daytime schedule that doesn't maybe work for my health. And then, okay, what do I need to do to make some little habit tweaks that serve me better?
Yeah.
But speaking of serve,
Let's get into it.
Shall we serve? Okay.
All right, we're going to make our dressing.
I love this.
So how are we going to do it?
So I just popped these garlics in here, so they are just living already, ready to go in the bullet. So can I just ask this crew here, does everybody have either a blender, a bullet of some sort of thing to make your life easier? Cool. I have found that since probably the last 8 years, 2 pieces of equipment if you're 3 if you count a toaster because you're old school like me, but 2 new pieces of equipment, which is air fryer and a blender. So it's like those to me seem like time cutters, helpful tools, and ways to create crisp, like a texture that feels really good without having some of the guilt of some of the other ways that we prepare foods. So in our dressing, you guys all have the recipe here. You will forgive me because I have cups, but I do not have tablespoons. So we are going to add our olive oil.
And actually, this dressing, you don't have to have a blender. You can
Stir.
Yeah, like a whisk. But, and if you can grab, this is like a $39 little blender. We're not doing heavy duty here.
There's a lot of versions of it.
So we've got some olive oil. And next we are doing our tahini.
And your garlic is in your box.
You see what it looks like.
Yeah, I was actually thinking to put a little on the on a spoon just to kind of taste it.
Sure.
So I actually have a gift for you all today. I have tahini for you all to take home. Yes.
What it tastes like?
You want to taste
Want
it?
to taste it?
Yeah, let's taste
Well,
it.
where does tahini come from?
No.
Tahini is a sesame seed.
Oh, you did say that.
It's
Okay.
sesame seed.
So now I'm gonna add a
Like
little.
grind
This
it
is.
up.
I already previously squashed these some lemons. I know the recipe calls for us coating the dark, but I'm just gonna
Okay.
we're just gonna have at it in the dressing
Okay.
for just
Okay.
simplicity's sake.
So, can I add some food as medicine stuff
Yes,
as we
please.
go?
Please.
So, the first thing that I will say is I want you guys to be curious about your food. And I also want you to understand that just because we eat something doesn't mean we get the max benefit from it. So there's a few things that I'm thinking of that I want to share with you guys, and don't worry, you don't have to remember all these. They will come back up. I'm big on repetition. So the first thing that I will say is garlic is amazing for your health. Most people know that. It's great for your heart. Specifically, it's great for your immune system. But a lot of the benefits that you get from garlic are going to be from raw garlic. Okay? Not that cooked garlic is bad, right? We can still, and there's always a difference, am I using this for medicine or am I just using this for food because I like it? And there's this place to just use food because you like it. Everything doesn't have to be healthified, right? But if we're thinking about using it as medicine, a lot of us cook with garlic, right? When we cook with garlic, we usually cut the garlic up immediately or press it and then put it directly in the oil. What really needs to happen with garlic is there needs to be a chemical reaction that takes place when you break the cell walls. okay? So whether you're cutting it, whether you're smashing it, whether you're pressing it, let that garlic sit for 10 minutes
Ooh.
before adding it to whatever you're cooking, and that lets that chemical reaction take place, and it's like your garlic was raw. So you'll get the benefit as if it was raw if you let it, like, break those cell walls, cut it, whatever you need to do, let it sit. That's one thing. There was 3 things that I wanted to share.
Fat and
Yes. So
That's
the other
important.
thing is that we have something called water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins. We will go down that road later. The thing to know about fat soluble vitamins, to absorb them appropriately, we need the presence of some fat. Okay? So this dressing is actually going to make this meal more absorbable. We're going to get more nutrients in this meal because we're adding a source of fat. Opposed to, so sometimes, you know, people will eat a salad and be like, oh, I don't want the dressing because it has too many calories or whatever. The dressing is actually bringing the fat, which makes it
necessary.
more absorbable. Okay? And then the last thing that I was going to say is greens specifically, when we want to eat them raw, that's great, you can eat them raw, okay? However, when we're adding an acid to them, which we are going to do in this salad dressing, it helps to break down those cell walls again. Once again, if the nutrition is here, but we can't pull it out, we're not going to get as much from it. So often when we eat kale, like raw, you'll see it's massaged, and we're starting to essentially cook it with the acid.
Oh, so the lemon's
Okay.
important there.
Yeah.
No, it's fine, because
Sorry.
remember, there's reasons sometimes when we want to get max benefit. So
Yeah.
if we're feeling like really under the weather and we're just like, you know what, I'm going hard to make sure everything that I eat is nourishing to get me back to a great state. That's when we were just like, we pull out all of our tricks. But sometimes we just want to eat something. Sometimes we just want something fast, and that's okay too. But there's these just little things that I want you guys to start using your food differently, looking at it differently, like what is this doing in my body? Is there any, we call it synergy, is there ways that things work together to make this better for me?
One thing I will say I like about kale is that it's so hearty. It can hold dressing for a couple of days or a few days, so it's a good, at least I found, like, something like romaine is really good, but you'll notice if you like dress it, after like a day. Kale will hold up and actually like do better, to your point, after hanging out with the like the good fats and the lemon and the having that synergy and hanging out for a while. I've had a kale salad that's like 3 days old and it still holds up.
All right, so we know how to get started. And to Stacy's point, I'm gonna go ahead and put some lemon directly on the dressing. Now, I also like to do this too, because it's kind of like to put your seasoning on the greens itself, it's kind of giving you a little bit more depth of flavor, right? So I just do a little simple, just a little swirl there. If I had gloves, I would put my hands in it. It's like, that's how we really like to do our kale salad, is because that's what you really do, is a little bit of the lemon.
Right, and that's also helping you break down those cell walls, and it
Yeah.
will be more tender as well when you're
Yeah.
eating it, so more enjoyable.
Now we're just going crazy here. I'm just gonna put a sprinkle of salt, because that also helps to activate the lemon, and the olive oil is what we put together there.
I'll put these on too when we get serving.
Okay. And then the other thing that I really have come to love with my salads is putting herbs in with the salad. And again, that's to kind of like, it's giving you a depth of flavor, like you're just kind of putting more flavor into the base of this meal.
Even start to see a little bit of how some of the color is changing just by adding the acid, right? And that is that chemical reaction happening.
And again, this is like, you're not going, we've got dressing and things. It's just to kind of like moisten it. And then this is cilantro that I'm gonna put in the salad. All right, and then you're just massaging it a bit. Thank you. I put this stuff in the Tupperware. I will also share with you that when I'm doing like my food prep for like this kind of thing, I will oftentimes just kind of do like all of the lettuces and put it in a plastic bag.
Okay.
or a Tupperware, so that like I don't want to dress this sometimes because it might go soggy, especially if you're trying to use it all week.
Like
So
a
yeah,
fill bag.
I do. Now, like, listen, there's levels to everything, right? Like, we're talking about microplastics, that's a whole other conversation. Like, glass is probably, like, the very ideal thing, but if you don't have it, like...
No, I do have a glass container, but the lid is plastic.
I know, this is what I mean. Like, it's like our best
harder you
efforts
try,
is
the more
always another
frustrating-
level.
Yes.
Well, no, I'm just trying to think as far as to keep it.
Yeah, like, that's great. Just like it's something that's tight,
Okay.
like sealed. Just putting it all together. Or do we want to do it in the bowls? Yeah, let's do it in the bowls and then layer it on.
And the other thing that's nice about something like this is that you can do this for a family, and then people can customize
Yeah.
what they want. Right? So you can have a whole different veggies, and somebody might not like carrots, and somebody else likes
Yeah.
peas, and they can.
But this
Right.
seemed like this.
Yes.
Work to what?
To help periodic or any inflammation or respiratory problem.
I want to hear what
So-
Stacy has to say.
So my
Yeah.
short answer is gonna be no. I don't have a problem with CMOS.
Right.
I'm gonna
What's the
just let
purpose
everybody have a
of
quick.
So
Yeah.
CMOS is
Is it good?
It's essentially like a type of seaweed, and it is very nourishing. It has lots of vitamins and minerals. I won't negate that. I will say one of the things that it does have is iodine. It shouldn't,
Yeah.
unless it's made into a preparation. But it has lots of iodine. So if you have any thyroid issues, I definitely don't recommend taking CMOS on a regular basis.
If you got what?
Any thyroid issues. I've definitely seen people like, oh, I take CMOS this and CMOS that, and the next thing they know, their thyroid function is out of whack. So could you use it occasionally, like a few times a week? Potentially. My bigger concern about CMOS now is where is it from? Because once things become commercial,
Right.
it gets over harvested and people start harvesting from
Very good.
places that you don't want, and you do not want CMOS from in contaminated waters. So if you're gonna get CMOS, you need to know, like the person selling it, they need to tell you where it's from. They need to be able to tell you like, oh, I know this is safe. Like you need to be able to ask those questions, not just somebody selling CMOS on the street.
Class, we don't like to use. We're not gonna shame words. You're doing the best.
Oh, what did I say? What did I
You
say?
said
No, so most people think it's not a problem.
healthy or unhealthy.
Right. So
Oh, okay, my bad.
foods are nourishing.
Right.
Okay.
Right, I forgot.
You're doing your best.
Yes, you are doing your best. And so we're always just going to reframe it. And I don't like to use healthy and unhealthy
Right.
because we don't know who's sitting in this room, what they use. We don't want to make them feel shamed, right? And so are there more nourishing choices for oils that we can use? Yes, but also we have to remember like access is important. I'd rather you make a balanced meal and use a oil that you can afford than not make a nourishing meal because you don't have access to a specific ingredient that goes in it. And that's when I say nutrition is so nuanced, right? There's so many things that go into what ends up on your plate. Your time, your budget, your knowledge, your preference, like so many things. So I'm not here to judge, and we want to make sure everybody feels comfortable in this space as well. Answer, like, do you have to eat one specific food? No, you don't. But there's so many beans. I feel like there might be something there for you. Right? There might be some bean that you've never had before, and you're like, oh, this one isn't bad. So that's the first thing that I would say is kind of maybe experiment and do it like in sessions like this. So you don't have to invest in it and be like, this is nasty. I wasted my money on this. But the other thing that I will say is it doesn't have to be eaten in this form. Like, you can experiment with it. Chickpeas, maybe you like it. I have a dessert hummus that I make that tastes like
Now I
brownie.
like hummus.
See,
That's a
So
bean.
that's a bean.
I
So you
know,
don't
but
have to eat it like
I
that.
know if you make it in the hummus form is not as, I guess.
Somebody told you that. Don't believe them.
Okay.
That's like, no, I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, it definitely still counts as a bean.
Yeah.
It's a bean.
Yeah, I like some hummus.
That's
There you go.
great.
So that's
So
how you
and
get them.
hummus would be perfect on this. It's texture then that it's like maybe you don't like that texture.
Yeah. So you don't have to eat it in this form. You eat it in whatever works for you. And that's why I keep saying it's so nuanced. If you don't want to eat it in this form, do you?
I love that we're tasting it here so that when you go home you'll be like, I don't care for it like that, I'm gonna do it like this. This is all about you doing it the way you like it, right? Like the way that Hillary does it is different than the way Stacy does and the way that I do it.
It's us, everybody.
So is there anybody who like loves onions? I'm the kind of person that like, so we have them roasted and raw. If you are interested, I can put some raw on there. I have the roasted in there.
Yeah, I like the roll too.
I do too. I load up on
And
onion.
I know that wasn't in the recipe, but since it was in the box, I was like, okay.
I like it in this salad because it's giving it a different texture.
And remember, and it's making it more interesting, all these different textures and
Yeah.
colors. Because even when you roast it, you can't really see that purple, but now you have that purple popping.
The purple's popping.
Yes.
So these are those nuanced questions, okay? So if you really like white onions, you're just like, I don't like purple onions, I can't find purple onions, please eat your white onions and know that there's nothing wrong with them. Remember we were talking about those phytonutrients? So the vitamins and minerals in an onion is going to be very similar. What's going to be different is this purple onion is going to have more of those phytonutrients. Specifically, the category that gives it that purple color is something called anthocyanins. So if you're looking for the phytonutrients, then the purple is your girl. But if you're just looking for an onion for your recipe, choose whatever you want.
I'm also, did we talk about like dried versus canned, like same nutrients? Yeah, we feel okay about that, or like
This was really good.
I feel like
if you can get beans in your life, you're good either way.
The oranges.
I feel like that's gonna be nuanced depending on people's even
Time.
their time, their budget, their hand strength. People don't even think about that, but like, can you cut certain things?
Totally.
Right? Can you open a can?
Mhm.
Maybe you need frozen because you can't do either.
Ooh.
So there's so many things that we don't think about when we judge what people are using.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes our strength don't kick it.
So what do y'all think?
I like it.
It's changing your palate, so y'all are gonna notice over time like this might taste very subtle if you're used to eating a lot of sugar beverages or like Takis and chips and things like you need to know that all those are artificial flavors and they actually intentionally do that in a lab. They are jacking our like neurology to be. It's like how babies naturally love sweet. They're jacking that up and like so that it makes it difficult to like regular food. But what happens when you start to take this out and start to add, I shouldn't take out, but as we're starting to add more food, you're gonna notice like, you know, I can appreciate this more.
Oh, this tastes just like a good salad.
It does.
Yeah. I love the textures,
I would
like
have-
some
I would have some
crunch,
chicken with mine,
some
but-
soft. Another thing, I know we're not mentioning it, and that there's no judgment, but another thing that impacts how you taste is smoking. So if you smoke, it dulls your senses, and you need to season your food more because it dulls your sense of taste and smell.
They pick up ways that they eat more.
Well, part of it is yeah. Oh, it tastes real good, but I also need something to do with my hands and my mouth because I'm normally trying really hard not to smoke. But it's just another thing that impacts how we perceive flavors, and so we get really used to things that have like wild flavors. Like Rita's is just pumping those flavors in there, and so you're
Ice people?
the water rice
Talking about
people.
the water rice
Oh yeah. I know, and I'm saying this in Philly. I know. So to Gianna's point, like things they want you to have it over and over again. And how do they make you have it over and over again? They make the flavors irresistible.
Literally addictive.
I don't think I would eat the quinoa by itself, but in here, you don't really.
Yeah, and everybody's gonna have a different experience. Like I like quinoa, I don't know that I like the texture in here so much.
Mhm.
Right? And so it's fine to not like it the way that it is, right? You're gonna find your own feel for these things. What I was thinking about for you is if you like the roasted vegetables, fine, eat the roasted vegetables that way. If maybe you decide that you're gonna throw your kale in a smoothie and eat it in a different way. I don't care if you eat it, just eat it.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Or even swap out. Like you're like, instead of, I like this.
Heavy on the swap outs, you know, like heavy on the swap outs. Just try to think about things that are, and again, this is part of our classes. Really, in fact, I think it might be our first class. Just talking about like what that means, like trying to get whole, unprocessed foods.
Yes.
Like, and what does that actually mean? Because it's like,
It means, do you know how many ingredients are in this?
A little bit.
one.
Do you know how many ingredients are in this? How many ingredients are in this? Onion. So everything, this is one ingredient. So if you were looking at a nutrition label, ingredients, chickpeas. And so the having things that have as few ingredients because they're whole things.
Somebody asked about quinoa. So quinoa, we use it often as like a rice replacement. So we use it as a carbohydrate. However, it is really an edible seed. It's an edible seed, so the nutrition profile of it is closer to a seed than a carbohydrate, which means it's actually a relatively high in protein for a plant. So this was another source of protein for us. So although plant proteins, and some of them are high in protein, when we stack them, so we just had quinoa, we had sunflower seeds, we had chickpeas, we had, I think, one other thing that had some protein in it. No, those are veggies. But all that to say is, we had these little bits of protein, and then they all add up to something significant. So you might have had, like, depending on what was in your bowl, 10 grams of protein, right? And you weren't even intentionally getting it. So plants can have protein in it. But quinoa is an edible seed. And going back, since I know we had some conversations about blood sugars, this is another cooking hack. If you make your carbohydrates in bulk
I just felt like, where'd the time go this week?
and cool them, so you cook
Really
them,
going quick.
cool them in the fridge, and eat them as leftovers. You don't have to eat them cold, but you're eating them like reheated instead of cooking them fresh and then eating them. It's actually better for your blood sugar. So let's just say we have like 3 things we're making during the week, and we want to have rice with them. Instead of making rice each night, make a big pot of rice, put the leftovers in the fridge, and then when you eat that leftover rice, it's actually going to be better for your blood sugar than when it was made fresh. What happens is something called resistant starch develops in the cooling process. And that resistant starch acts kind of like a fiber, and fiber helps things not move through your system as quickly, and you don't see as big of a spike. And the other thing that it does is that it develops prebiotics for us. So essentially, it's good for our gut. So that simple change can make a big difference. It depends on what else you're eating with it. So no, I'm saying like what else you're eating with it. If it's just salmon and rice, you have the liberty to have more rice. But if you're having like salmon and maybe you're having it with potatoes and rice, then you're not going to have as much rice because you also have another starch. So it's really about portions. So they're both going to have carbohydrates, so then you would just have smaller portions. If you're not doing another carbohydrate with a meal, then you could have a larger portion of rice. That does not mean, I always need to be clear, that does not mean you get to have the biggest bowl or as much as you want if you want your blood sugars to be in check. But it does mean that you can have more than a spoonful.
And I'm gonna say, as not the dietitian here, that I would love to see you choose one, like potato or rice, and then make half of the plate fruits and vegetables. But I personally like to have potatoes, but then also too, do you like sweet potatoes?
But I only eat it during Thanksgiving.
So we're gonna bring the sweet potatoes back, because that again is like you're looking at that color, that rich orange. It is so Good.
Beta carotene.
Yeah, it's the beta carotene, but also, you know, I stand hard for white potatoes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is another food that's been vilified. So and this is something that we'll talk about, like cultural foods. There are whole cultures that have potatoes are their staples. Same thing with rice. Okay, so you can't tell me that these people have been living for centuries and these foods are bad. Right?
Is it what we add to them?
It's not what we add to them. It's that there's nothing wrong with them. It's the way that we look at nutrition in this country. And so I'll give you a prime example with the rice. If we have white rice and we have brown rice, we are told that brown rice is better. Not incorrect, right? But when we look at them nutritionally, the difference is, it's not very small, but what else is on the plate? So I'm getting there. So brown rice is brown rice. It's a whole grain. There's 3 parts to every grain. You're stripping 2 of the layers of grains when you have a whole grain versus a refined grain. And when we do that, we lose a lot of nutrients and we lose some fiber. Okay? So if we're comparing the two, brown rice is non-negotiably more nutritious. Okay? However, and this is a big however, so in the nutrition world, they'll be like, brown rice is more nutritious. However, people that eat white rice as a staple, what else is on their plate? Vegetables, which are going to make up the difference. So,
Oh, from the stripping. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
right? And so if you look at it in this vacuum, yes, that's true, but it's always loaded with vegetables and all these things that are going to get you those nutrients that are missing, and it's going to make up for that extra fiber. So I want you to think about it like, have people been eating this for years? There's a reason why they've been eating it for years. So all that to say is white potatoes, there's nothing wrong with them. It is about the amounts. That's what we would need to work on. White potatoes are rich in vitamin C and they're rich in potassium. I bet you nobody told you that. And going back to what I said, when you want potatoes, make some, cool them, and then when you have them later, because we're not eating it all, remember, we're working on the portions, it's going to be better for your blood sugar. But also sweet potatoes are delicious.
Y'all, it is 5:30. We here.
Oh.
We just chatting. I know. Time to go. That's good. Well, thank you for coming to our first class.
Thank you, welcome.
Yes.